Commander Kevin Harlow sat in the dark command center of Earth's United Nations space station. Banks of monitors showed data streams from across the solar system. His hands rested on the cold metal table. He waited for the transmission that would change everything. It was 2:47 in the morning, Geneva time. Kevin had not slept in 36 hours. Around him sat 12 other people. Generals, admirals, scientists, and diplomats. They all waited in silence. The transmission came at exactly 3 a.m. The screen flickered to life. A figure appeared. It was not human. The being had a smooth, angular face with eyes that glowed faint blue. His name was Council Speaker Krell. It was the voice of the Galactic Council. "People of Earth," Krell said. His voice was calm and cold. "The Galactic Council has completed its review of your application for membership. We have made our decision." Kevin leaned forward. He could feel the tension in the room. Ambassador Linda Brooks, Earth's chief diplomat, gripped the edge of the table so hard her knuckles turned white. "Your application is denied," Krell continued. "The Council has determined that humanity is not ready for membership in our civilization." Silence filled the command center. Kevin felt something inside him break. Krell continued without any change in his tone. "Your species demonstrates repeated patterns of violence. Your nations wage constant war against each other. Your history is marked by cruelty, destruction, and chaos. You possess weapons of mass destruction and have used them against your own kind." Linda started to speak. Kevin held up his hand to stop her. "Furthermore," Krell said, "your species originated on a harsh, dangerous world. This has shaped your psychology in ways that make you unpredictable and dangerous. You lack the emotional maturity of established civilizations. Your culture values aggression and competition. These are not the values of a peaceful galactic society." General Robert Hayes stood up. His face was red with anger. Kevin motioned for him to sit back down. "The Council has decided that Earth will be placed under observation status for the next 100 years. During this time, you may not engage in trade with any member world. You may not access galactic technology. You may not travel beyond your solar system. You are isolated from our civilization for your own protection and ours." Krell's eyes glowed brighter. "Do not attempt to contact us again. Do not attempt to leave your system. Any violation of these restrictions will be met with force. The Council has spoken." The screen went black. For a full minute, no one spoke. Then Linda stood up and slammed her hand on the table. "No," she said. "No. This is wrong. We have worked for 5 years. 5 years of negotiations. 5 years of showing them who we are." Kevin sat perfectly still. He understood now. The last 5 years meant nothing to them. Earth's peace treaties, Earth's advances in technology, Earth's scientific achievements, Earth's demonstrations of culture and art. None of it mattered. They had looked at humanity and seen only monsters. "What do we do?" asked Dr. Patricia Morrison. She was Earth's greatest scientist. Her voice was steady, but Kevin could hear the anger beneath it. Kevin stood up slowly. He walked to the window. Earth hung in space below them, blue and beautiful. Billions of people lived down there. They had no idea that their future had just been taken from them. "What do we do?" Kevin repeated. He turned back to face the room. "We have 2 choices. We accept this. We go home. We tell Earth that we are not good enough for the stars. We accept isolation. We become prisoners of our own solar system." He paused. "Or we fight," Kevin said simply. General Hayes stood again. This time, Kevin did not stop him. "Fight who? The entire Galactic Council? We do not have the weapons. We do not have the ships. We do not have the power." "No," Kevin said. "We do not have their weapons. But we have something they do not have." "What?" asked Patricia. Kevin looked at her. We have nothing to lose. They thought we were savages because we fight. They thought our wars made us weak. But they were wrong. Our wars taught us how to survive. Our struggles made us stronger. Our determination made us creative. Kevin walked to the center of the room. Krell said we are unpredictable. He said our culture values aggression. He said we are dangerous. He was right. He was right about all of it. But he made one mistake. What mistake? Linda asked. He underestimated us, Kevin said. He looked at our history of internal conflict and concluded we were weak. He did not realize that the same qualities that make us fight among ourselves can be turned outward. The same determination that makes us survive harsh conditions can make us unstoppable. Patricia leaned back in her chair. Slowly, a slight smile appeared on her face. You want to go to war against the Galactic Council. I want to make them respect us, Kevin said. I want them to understand that they cannot dismiss humanity. I want them to learn that we do not accept being locked away like animals in a zoo. General Hayes nodded slowly. It would take everything we have. Every resource. Every soldier. Every ship we can build. Yes, Kevin said. We would lose people, Hayes said. Many people. Yes, Kevin said again. Ambassador Linda Brooks stood up. She had spent 5 years trying to convince the council to accept humanity. She had been rejected and insulted. Now she looked at Kevin with fierce determination. How do we start? She asked. Kevin smiled for the first time since the transmission. We start by telling Patricia to stop hiding the weapons we have been developing. We start by mobilizing every nation on Earth. We start by showing the Galactic Council what a mistake they just made. The news spread across Earth within hours. News networks broadcast the Council's decision. The initial shock turned to anger. Then anger turned to something deeper. On the streets of every major city, people gathered. They did not riot. They did not panic. They simply stood together in the streets. From New York to Tokyo, from Sydney to Cairo, from Rio to Mumbai, billions of people looked at the stars. The message was clear. They would not accept this rejection. They would not go quietly into isolation. In the command center, Kevin watched the global response on the monitors. He felt something ancient stir inside him. It was the same thing that had driven humans to cross oceans without knowing what lay on the other side. The same thing that had made humans build cities and create art and push forward despite all odds. The Galactic Council had made a fatal error. They had humiliated Earth, thinking humanity would respond with shame. They did not understand that shame could become rage. Rage could become fuel. Fuel could become victory. Kevin turned to his team. Begin mobilization. Contact every nation. Contact every military. Contact every scientist and engineer we have. Tell them the truth. Tell them the Galactic Council rejected us. Tell them we are going to war. Patricia smiled and nodded. I will begin the production immediately. Linda sat quietly for a moment. Then she spoke. They rejected our peace. Now they will meet our strength. The command center filled with the sounds of orders being given, communications being made, preparations being started. Humanity was going to war, not for conquest, not for greed, but for something far more powerful, for the right to exist as equals in the galaxy. The Galactic Council had just made the greatest mistake in its history. 3 months had passed since the Council's rejection. The world had changed. In the orbital shipyard above Earth, massive structures took shape. Ships that had existed only in secret blueprints for years were now being built in the open. Engineers and workers moved with fierce purpose. There was no hiding anymore. There was no pretending. Earth was building a war fleet. Commander Kevin Harlow stood in the observation deck of the main construction facility. Around him, ships in various stages of completion hung in space. These were not just vessels for exploration or trade. These were warships, designed to fight. Designed to win. Dr. Patricia Morrison walked up beside him. She carried a data tablet. Her face was tired but satisfied. "How many?" Kevin asked. 87 combat vessels, Patricia said. 42 of them are ready for deployment now. The rest will be ready within 2 months. Kevin nodded. 87 ships against a galactic empire that possessed thousands. The numbers looked impossible. But Kevin had done his research. The Galactic Council's military was not prepared for this kind of conflict. They had not fought a real war in centuries. They had grown soft. The weapon systems? Kevin asked. Better than I hoped, Patricia said. She showed him the tablet. Technical specifications scrolled across the screen. We have taken everything we learned from Earth's conflicts and applied it to space warfare. Faster targeting systems. More powerful weapons. Better defenses. Kevin studied the numbers. His strategic mind worked through the implications. They will not know how to counter it. No, Patricia agreed. Their weapons are designed for large, slow battles. Ours are designed for speed and precision. They will fire at where they think we are. We will already be gone. Kevin smiled slightly. Humanity's warfare evolution had taught them something the Peaceful Council had never learned. How to move fast. How to adapt. How to strike before the enemy could respond. Below them, on Earth, the mobilization continued. Every nation had united. This was not an American war, or a Chinese war, or an Indian war. This was Earth's war. For the first time in its history, every human nation was united under a single cause. Military personnel from every country trained together. Engineers from different continents worked on the same projects. Scientists from rival nations shared research. The divisions that had once seemed permanent had crumbled when faced with a threat to their entire species. In a command center in Geneva, General Robert Hayes reviewed deployment plans. Beside him sat commanders from every major nation. They came from different cultures, spoke different languages, but they shared the same goal: to prepare Earth for war. Training is progressing faster than expected, said Commander Li Wei of the Eastern Alliance. Our pilots are adapting well to the new fighters. General Hayes nodded. What about weapons production? We can maintain the current schedule, replied General Carlos Reyes of the Americas. 3 new destroyers per month. 2 carriers by the end of the year. Hayes looked at the holographic display showing Earth's fleet positions. They were scattered across the solar system, hidden in asteroid fields, concealed in deep space. The Galactic Council had no idea of Earth's true military capability. The Council thinks we are still primitive, Hayes said. They think our technology is 100 years behind theirs. Let them think that. When we strike, it will shock them. In a pilot training facility near the North Pole, young men and women from around the world prepared for battle. Captain Marcus Cole was one of them. He was American, born in Texas, trained as a fighter pilot since he was 20 years old. Now, at 28, he was becoming something more. A warrior for all of humanity. The training simulator showed Marcus an enemy fleet. 20 Council vessels, far superior in size and firepower. The objective was simple: destroy them or die trying. These simulations were brutal. They did not allow for mistakes. Every error resulted in immediate mission failure. Marcus flew through the simulation with perfect precision. His hands moved across the controls with instinctive grace. He had flown fighter jets since childhood. He had practiced aerial combat his entire life. Now that skill was being refined for a different kind of war. He fired a sequence of weapons. The enemy vessels exploded in the simulation. His squadron mates followed, cleaning up the remaining targets. They had done this exercise 50 times already. They would do it 50 more times before the real battle came. After the simulation, Marcus removed his helmet. His face was wet with sweat. Lieutenant Anna Wright, a communications specialist from Canada, was waiting for him. "You are getting faster," she said. "I have to be," Marcus replied. "When we fight them for real, there will be no second chances." Anna nodded. She had been trained to work alongside the combat pilots, managing communications in the heat of battle. It was difficult work. One mistake could mean entire squadrons dying. "Are you afraid?" she asked. Marcus thought about the question. Fear was something he had learned to acknowledge rather than ignore. "Yes, I am afraid. I am afraid that I will not be good enough. I am afraid that people will die because of my mistakes." "But you will go anyway," Anna said. "Yes," Marcus confirmed. "Because if we do not fight, we lose everything. Our freedom, our future, everything that makes us human." In a laboratory, deep beneath the Earth's surface, scientists worked on defensive technology. Dr. Patricia Morrison moved between stations, checking calculations and reviewing results. One of her team members, Dr. Henry Chang, approached her with urgent news. "We have found a weakness in the Council's shield technology," he said. Patricia stopped. "What kind of weakness?" "Their shields are designed to withstand weapons they have seen before," Henry explained. "Weapons that follow traditional physics principles. But our weapons operate on a different model. We use the physics they understand but apply it in ways they have never attempted." "Can we exploit this?" Patricia asked. "Yes," Henry said confidently. "We can break their shields with a concentrated pulse weapon if we time it correctly. But we need to perfect the timing. One failure and the weapon becomes useless." Patricia nodded. This was what she had hoped for. Humanity had always been good at improvisation, at finding solutions where others saw only problems, at adapting to new challenges. "Start the trials immediately," she ordered. "I want to work in prototype in 1 month." In the command center, Kevin received an update on the global preparations. Everything was proceeding better than expected. The workforce was motivated. The soldiers were determined. The scientists were finding solutions. Humanity was ready, but Kevin also understood something that the others might not. When they went to war, there would be losses. People would die. Families would be broken. The cost would be terrible. He stood alone in his quarters, looking at the image of Earth below. For a moment, doubt crept into his mind. Was this the right choice? Could they really win against an empire that stretched across hundreds of star systems? Then he thought about Krell's words. The cold, dismissive rejection. The assumption that humanity was too primitive, too savage, too weak to join galactic civilization. The decision to imprison an entire species behind an invisible wall. Kevin's doubt vanished. This was not just about military victory. This was about respect. About proving that humanity could not be dismissed or controlled. About showing that every species deserved the right to choose their own path. He activated his communication system. Send out the order. Accelerate all production schedules. I want this fleet ready for deployment in 60 days. Tell every soldier, every engineer, every scientist on this planet that we are not asking them to die for conquest. We are asking them to fight for freedom. The message was transmitted across Earth and to every ship in the fleet. The response was immediate. Cheers rose up from military bases. Workers in shipyards increased their pace. Pilots and training exercises became more intense. Humanity was no longer preparing for war. Humanity was preparing for victory. In the darkness of space, Earth's fleet began to move into position, hidden and waiting, ready to remind the galaxy that humans were not meant to be caged. ready to teach the Galactic Council that some species would fight for their right to exist as equals. The war was coming, and when it arrived, the Council would finally understand the mistake they had made. Space near Nexus 7 station was quiet. The massive orbital installation belonged to the Galactic Council. It served as a trade hub, military depot, and administrative center for the entire sector. Thousands of ships docked there daily. Millions of beings lived and worked within its vast structure. The Council believed it was invulnerable. At 0600 hours. That belief changed. Captain Marcus Cole sat in the cockpit of his fighter. Around him, 41 other pilots did the same. Their ships had emerged from a hidden jump point just minutes ago. Now they rushed toward Nexus 7 at maximum speed. "All pilots, this is Marcus," he said into the communication system. His voice was calm, controlled. "Check your weapons. We have one chance to make this count." Around him, acknowledgments came back, each pilot confirming they were ready. Decades of training had led to this moment. Everything humanity had worked for depended on this attack. Below the fighters, Earth's capital ships moved into position. 3 destroyer vessels, 4 cruisers, 1 massive battleship at the center. The fleet that had taken 6 months to build was finally going to prove itself in combat. Nexus 7's defense systems suddenly came alive. Alarms blared across the station. Ships that had been peacefully docked began to scramble. The Council had finally realized what was happening. "We are being targeted." Anna's voice came through the communications. She was coordinating the strike from Earth's lead destroyer. Multiple weapons locking on. Stand by for evasive maneuvers. Marcus did not hesitate. He pulled hard on the control stick. His fighter climbed vertically, rolling away from the incoming fire. 4 of his squadron mates followed the same pattern. 2 others took different routes. The coordination was perfect. They had practiced these moves thousands of times. The Council's first weapons volley passed through empty space. The fighters were already gone. "Fire!" Marcus commanded. 42 fighters unleashed a coordinated strike. Energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. They struck Nexus 7's external defenses with precision. The impact was devastating. 3 Council defense stations exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The station's main defensive array returned fire. Bolts of plasma energy streaked across space. But the Council's weapons were designed for large, slow targets. They had no experience tracking fast-moving fighters that could change direction in seconds. Marcus led his squadron in a diving attack. They flew straight at the station's shield generators. He could see them now, glowing nodes of energy distributed across the station's surface. Each one a target. "Squadron 2, target the generators on the north side," Marcus ordered. "Squadron 3, focus on the south generators. I am going through the middle." The fighters split into their assigned groups. They moved with the precision of a perfectly choreographed dance. Energy bolts streaked past them. Some came terrifyingly close, but none found their mark. Marcus fired directly at a shield generator as he flew past it. The weapon hit perfectly. The generator erupted in flames. The shield covering that section of the station flickered and died. Below, on the destroyer, Anna watched the battle unfold on her screens. "Target the exposed section," she ordered. "Fire all available weapons." The destroyer unleashed a devastating barrage. Weapons fire poured into the section of Nexus 7 that Marcus's squadron had exposed. The station rocked from the impact. Internal explosions bloomed across its hull. Entire sections were torn open. Atmosphere vented into space. Commander Silenus, the Galactic Council's military chief, stood in Nexus 7's command center watching in disbelief. His entire face had turned pale. This was impossible. Primitive humans were tearing apart one of the greatest stations in the galaxy. Mobilize all response forces, he ordered. I want every council vessel in the sector moving to defend this station. But it was too late. The human fleet had already accounted for this. 3 council battlecruisers that had been docked at Nexus 7 were trying to launch. Human pilot Captain Vincent Gray led a strike group directly at them. The battlecruisers fired their weapons. They were massive vessels, armed with weapons that could destroy planets. But they were also slow. They needed time to power up, aim, and fire. Captain Gray's fighters did not give them time. Fire on the launch bay, Gray commanded. His squadron attacked with ferocious intensity. The launch bays exploded. The battlecruiser's docking clamps failed. They tumbled away from the station, disabled and helpless. Within minutes, the first phase of the battle was over. Nexus 7's defenses were shattered. 3 council battlecruisers were destroyed. The station itself was burning. The Galactic Council's military response was in chaos. Then a new danger appeared. A council battle fleet was approaching from the sector's outer regions. 30 ships moving at full speed. They would arrive in 10 minutes. All fighters, return to your carriers, Marcus ordered. All capital ships, prepare for immediate departure. The human fighters broke off their attack and rushed back to the safety of their transport vessels. Behind them, the Earth fleet turned and began moving away from Nexus 7. They had struck the Council a devastating blow. Now they needed to survive long enough to escape. The Council battle fleet was closing fast. They opened fire while still thousands of kilometers away. The range was too great to be accurate, but it showed their intention. To destroy the human fleet before it could escape. Anna's voice came through every communication channel. Jump coordinates locked. All ships, prepare for jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1, jump. The human fleet's vessels activated their jump drives simultaneously. Equations that should have been impossible, according to Council science, suddenly became reality. The ships vanished from space, leaving only a shimmer of exotic energy in their wake. The Council battle fleet emerged at Nexus 7 and found nothing. The humans were gone. The station was damaged, but still standing. The victory was Earth's. When the news reached Commander Kevin Harlow, he felt something he had not expected to feel. Relief. They could do this. Against all odds, against an enemy that seemed invincible, they could actually win. Patricia Morrison heard the news in her laboratory. She immediately began analyzing the battle data. The defensive systems worked perfectly, she said to her team. Our ships outperformed all projections. We can do this. We can really do this. But the victory was not without cost. The casualty report came back to Kevin. 47 human pilots killed in the battle. Hundreds of Council personnel dead. Nexus 7 damaged, but not destroyed. Kevin read the names of the fallen pilots. Young men and women who had trained for months. Who had believed in humanity's cause. Who had given their lives so that the rest of their species could be free. He called Patricia to his office. I want to know something, he said. If we continue with the planned strikes, how many more will die? Patricia did not answer immediately. She knew the math. Continued warfare would result in thousands of deaths. Maybe tens of thousands. But if we stop, Patricia said slowly, if we surrender now, we will live as prisoners. We will spend the rest of our lives knowing that we surrendered our freedom. Every generation of humans that comes after us will live in a cage. Kevin nodded. He had already made his decision, but he needed to hear Patricia say it. He needed confirmation that this path was necessary. Then we continue, Kevin said. We continue until the Galactic Council understands that humanity is free, that we will not be imprisoned, that we will fight for our right to exist as equals. The news of the battle spread across Earth. The initial fear that had gripped people transformed into fierce pride. Humanity had struck the first blow. Humanity had proven it could fight. Humanity had shown the Galactic Council that their rejection had been a catastrophic mistake. In every city, in every village, the message was the same. They were at war, and they were going to win. On Earth's orbital stations, new ships were being built faster than ever. New pilots were being trained. New soldiers were enlisting. The entire species had become an instrument of war, not out of cruelty or greed, but out of pure necessity, out of the human refusal to accept anything less than freedom. The Galactic Council chambers were in chaos. Species that had never raised their voices were shouting. Leaders who had served for centuries were demanding answers. The entire foundation of galactic order was shaking. Council Speaker Krell stood at the center of the chamber. He was trying to maintain control, but it was becoming impossible. The attack on Nexus 7 had terrified the council members, not because it was particularly large or destructive, but because it should have been impossible. How did this happen? Demanded Councilor Versa of the Merchant Alliance. How did primitive humans penetrate our defenses? They should not have weapons capable of this, said another counselor. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance, a third voice added. Krell raised his hand for silence. The humans have demonstrated unexpected technological advancement. Their military tactics are unfamiliar to us. This was a coordinated strike against a single installation. Nothing more. But Krell was lying, and he knew it. The humans had done more than strike a single station. They had proven that they could hurt the Council. They had shown that Earth's military was far more advanced than anyone had believed. In a secret location, far from the main Council chambers. Something else was happening. Council Representative Vexter had spent 200 years serving the Galactic Council. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had watched species achieve greatness and others destroy themselves. He understood power in ways most beings never could. When he had reviewed Earth's application for membership, Vexter had known immediately that the Council would reject it. The fear of humanity was too strong. The prejudice too deep. Krell and his followers wanted isolation, wanted to keep Earth locked away forever. But Vexter believed something different. He believed that humanity needed to be challenged, tested, forced to prove their worth in the only way that truly meant something in the galaxy. Through power. When Vexter heard about the attack on Nexus 7, he understood what had happened. Humanity had accepted the challenge. They were going to war. Vexter made a decision that would change everything. He initiated a secret communication to Commander Kevin Harlow. The message came to Kevin in code, encrypted with technology that should not have been possible for Earth to decode. But Patricia Morrison had anticipated this. She had been monitoring Council frequencies constantly. When the encrypted signal arrived, she was able to break it in less than an hour. Kevin read the message alone in his office. Commander Harlow, I am Council Representative Vexter. I am contacting you because the Council must change. Your species has proven that you will not accept subjugation. You will fight for your freedom. I believe this is correct. I believe you deserve a place among the stars. Continue your strikes. Show the Council that you cannot be defeated. Only through defeat will they accept that humans are equals. Do not stop. Do not surrender. The Council will eventually come to understand. My name is Vexter. I am your secret ally. Kevin read the message 3 times. It could be a trap. It could be a Council deception designed to get him to make strategic mistakes. But his instincts told him it was real. Someone inside the Council believed in humanity's right to exist as equals. Someone was helping them from within. Continue the war, Kevin ordered. Full deployment of the fleet. Over the next 2 months, Earth launched 4 more major strikes. Each one was more devastating than the last. The Council's supply lines were cut. 2 more major stations were damaged. 15 Council warships were destroyed or disabled. The Council's military was in crisis. They had never fought a war like this. They had always fought slowly, methodically, with overwhelming numbers. But the humans fought differently. They struck fast. They attacked where the Council did not expect it. They disappeared before a response could be organized. Inside the Council chambers, the situation grew worse. The merchant species that depended on trade were demanding action. The military species wanted retaliation. The peaceful species wanted negotiation. The Council was tearing itself apart. Councilor Versatha approached Krell with a radical proposal. We must negotiate with the humans. They are too strong to defeat through military force alone. Krell's face showed his fury. We negotiate with primitives? Impossible. It would show weakness. We are already showing weakness, Versatha replied coldly. We are losing battles. Our stations are being destroyed. Our people are dying. Either we negotiate or we continue to lose until we are the ones who are conquered. Commander Silenus, the military chief, listened to this exchange. He had been forced to accept a terrible truth. The humans were winning, not because they had more ships or more power, but because they were willing to fight harder, because they adapted faster, because they refused to accept defeat. For the first time in 300 years, Silenus felt something he had not felt before: fear. And with that fear came something else: respect. These humans were warriors. True warriors. Not administrators or traders or scholars. Warriors. Silenus requested a secret meeting with Vexter. When they met, Silenus was blunt. The humans will win if the Council continues fighting them. Their psychological makeup makes them dangerous. The more desperate they become, the harder they fight. The more losses they take, the more determined they become. It is like fighting an enemy that becomes stronger each time you damage it. That is because you are correct, Vexter said. You are damaging them. You are making them angry. Angry enemies are unpredictable. Desperate enemies are unstoppable. What do you suggest? Silenus asked. Stop fighting them, Vexter said. Offer them terms. Give them what they wanted in the first place: membership in the Council. Silenus was quiet for a long moment. That will seem like surrender. It will seem like wisdom, Vexter replied. The humans will accept it as victory. The Council will accept it as the only logical path forward. And the galaxy will have one less point of conflict. This is the only path that prevents total war. Silenus left the meeting with much to consider. Back on Earth, Kevin received new intelligence. The Council's internal divisions were widening. Some members wanted to continue fighting. Others wanted to stop the war immediately. The Empire was fracturing from within. Push the attack, Kevin ordered Patricia. One more major strike. Hit something important. Something that proves we are unstoppable. Patricia coordinated with Marcus Cole and the pilots. They planned an attack on a Council weapons manufacturing facility. It was heavily defended, but if they could destroy it, it would cripple the Council's ability to produce military weapons for months. The attack came without warning. 100 fighters and 10 capital ships. The strike was devastating. The manufacturing facility was completely destroyed. Thousands of Council workers were killed. It was the largest loss the Council had suffered in centuries. The impact was immediate. Krell could not maintain control anymore. The Council members demanded action. They would either negotiate with the humans or they would face complete rebellion within their own ranks. 3 days later, Vexter proposed a solution to the full Council. We offer Earth membership. We grant them a seat on the Council. We end the isolation. We acknowledge that they are our equals. The vote was not unanimous, but it was overwhelming. 73% of the Council voted in favor. Krell voted against it. But his power was broken. He was removed from his position of leadership. The message was sent to Earth, not through cold, dismissive channels like before, but through a proper diplomatic channel. The Galactic Council was prepared to negotiate, to discuss Earth's membership, to treat humanity as equals. When Kevin received the message, he felt the weight of 6 months of war lift from his shoulders. It was not a complete victory, but it was victory nonetheless. Humanity had forced the Council to recognize them, not through begging, not through asking nicely, but through strength. Kevin looked at the casualty list. 312 human lives, but millions of lives saved. An entire species freed from imprisonment. He understood now what Vexter had meant. The Council had needed to be defeated. They had needed to learn that they could not simply reject a species because they were different. They needed to learn that might did not make right, but it did make the world pay attention. Earth was going to the negotiating table not as a desperate species asking for scraps. Earth was going to the negotiating table as victors. The negotiation chamber was built on neutral space station. 5 humans sat on one side of a massive table. Across from them sat 5 members of the Galactic Council, including Council Representative Vexter. Commander Kevin Harlow did not feel nervous. He felt calm and determined. He had prepared for this moment his entire life without knowing it. On the screen behind him was Earth, the blue planet that had given birth to humanity. The world where humans had learned to fight, to survive, to rise up against impossible odds. That world was about to join the galaxy as equals. The Galactic Council formally offers membership to the species known as humanity, Vexter said. You will receive a permanent seat on the Council. You will have access to galactic trade networks. You will be bound by the same laws that apply to all member species. Kevin nodded. We accept. But I want something else. The Council members exchanged glances. Vexter tilted his head slightly. What is it you require? An apology, Kevin said simply. The Council rejected us not because we were not ready. You rejected us because you feared us. You called us savages. You tried to imprison us. I want the Council to publicly acknowledge this. I want it on record that the rejection was unjust. Vexter exchanged quiet conversation with the other Council members. When he turned back, he was smiling slightly. The Galactic Council formally acknowledges that the rejection of Earth's membership application was based on prejudice, rather than objective criteria. The Council recognizes that humanity has demonstrated strength, adaptability, and the will to defend their freedom. The Council regrets the isolation that was imposed upon your species. This is now recorded in the official history of the Council. Kevin felt something inside him release. Humanity had not just fought for survival. They had fought for respect, for recognition, for the simple acknowledgement that they deserved to exist as equals. Then we have an agreement. Kevin said. Ambassador Linda Brooks signed the document that made Earth an official member of the Galactic Council. Her hand was steady as she wrote her name. Behind her, the Earth orbited the Sun, unaware that everything had changed. The news was transmitted to Earth within hours. The announcement was simple and direct. Earth had been granted membership in the Galactic Council. The war was over. Humanity had won. The celebration that erupted across Earth was unlike anything the planet had ever seen. In every city, people gathered in the streets. They cheered. They cried. They embraced each other. Every nation, every culture, every religion came together in a moment of pure joy. The human military personnel watched their leaders negotiate from observation areas. Captain Marcus Cole stood with Lieutenant Anna Wright, both of them in dress uniforms for the formal signing. We did it, Anna said quietly. We did, Marcus agreed. He was thinking about the 47 pilots who had died in the first battle. about all the soldiers and engineers who had sacrificed so much to make this moment possible. They would be proud. The negotiations took 3 weeks to complete. Earth was given a full sector of space to govern. Trade routes were established. Scientific exchanges were organized. Humanity was no longer isolated. They were now part of the largest civilization in the galaxy. Patricia Morrison was asked to present Earth's weapons technology to the Council. In a formal presentation, she explained the weapon systems that had proven so effective against the Council's military. Your weapons were designed for slow, methodical warfare, Patricia explained. Our weapons were designed by a species that has survived millions of years of conflict on a harsh world. We learned to adapt, to change tactics, to find solutions where you saw only problems. The Council members listened carefully. Some of them were taking notes. Others looked concerned. But Vexter was smiling. Your technology is primitive compared to ours, one Council member said. Yet it was effective. Why? Because it was adapted to overcome your advantages, Patricia said. You built larger weapons. We built faster ones. You assumed we would fight like other species you have encountered. We fought like humans. We fought like a species that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Kevin was offered the position of Earth's representative to the Council. He accepted on one condition. I want 3 more humans to sit with me, he said. 1 military representative, 1 scientific representative, and 1 diplomat. Each of these people will have equal voice in Council decisions. Humans are not built to follow one leader blindly. We need dialogue. We need different perspectives. We need to disagree and find better answers. The Council agreed. It was an unusual arrangement, but the humans had earned the right to be unusual. General Robert Hayes became the military representative. He brought decades of experience in planetary defense and strategic warfare. His presence on the Council made sure that Earth's military voice was heard. Patricia Morrison became the scientific representative. The Council's greatest minds were eager to work with her. Together, they began collaborating on technology that neither species could have created alone. Ambassador Linda Brooks became the diplomatic representative. She had spent 5 years trying to negotiate with the Council in peace. Now she would spend the rest of her life making sure that peace between Earth and the galactic community would last. The memorial service for the fallen pilots was held in orbit above Earth. 312 names were read into the void of space. 312 men and women who had given their lives so that the rest of humanity could be free. Kevin stood at the memorial with Patricia. They had known some of these pilots personally. They had watched them train. They had watched them die. Was it worth it? Patricia asked quietly. Kevin did not answer immediately. He thought about the billions of humans on Earth who could now look to the stars without fear. He thought about the children who would grow up as citizens of a galactic community instead of prisoners of an isolated world. He thought about the endless possibilities that now lay before humanity. Yes, Kevin said finally. It was worth it. Every sacrifice was worth it. 5 years after the treaty was signed, humanity had become a respected member of the galactic community. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers on projects that advanced understanding across the known universe. Human traders brought goods from Earth to every corner of the galaxy. Human diplomats helped mediate conflicts between other species. But perhaps the most important contribution was something simpler. Humans brought energy, drive, passion, willingness to take risks, willingness to change. The Galactic Council had become stale and resistant to change. Humanity reminded them that progress required challenge, that improvement required struggle, that a civilization that stopped fighting for its values was a civilization that was already dying. On Earth, a new generation of humans looked at the stars with wonder rather than fear. They knew that the universe was waiting for them. They knew that humanity had earned its place among the stars through courage and strength. Kevin Harlow stood in the same command center where he had received Krell's message years ago. The rejection that had sparked the war. The humiliation that had become humanity's greatest strength. He thought about the Galactic Council, about how they had tried to cage humanity, how they had failed to understand that some species could not be caged, that humans would always choose freedom no matter the cost. Patricia Morrison joined him. She was now the head of the entire Galactic Science Initiative. Her work was reshaping technology across the known universe. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "The future," Kevin said. "About what comes next. About what humanity is going to become now that we are free." Patricia smiled. Something great. Something the Council could never have imagined. Far below, on Earth, billions of humans looked at the stars with pride. They had fought for their freedom. They had refused to accept imprisonment. They had shown the galaxy what humanity could do when united. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human expansion had begun. And the Galactic Council would never be the same again. Humanity had come to the stars not as supplicants, not as prisoners, but as warriors, as equals, as a species that had earned the right to exist among the greatest civilizations in the universe. The galaxy would learn to respect them, because humans had learned the hardest lesson of all. That respect was not given. It was earned. Through sacrifice, through strength, through refusing to accept anything less than freedom. And humanity would never accept anything less ever again.